Coming to you live from the Dembski Sports Complex in Buffalo, New York, on the campus of Canisius University, home of the Golden Griffins. It is the start of the 2025 Monsignor Martin Boys Lacrosse Tournament. It is the semifinal, one of two, to begin our coverage on Western New York athletics. It is the number 4 seed, the St. Francis Red Raiders, taking on the top seed and the regular season champion Nichols Vikings. The winner will take on either Canisius or St. Joe's Tuesday night at 6 p.m. for the championship. Hi, everyone. Along with our producer, Tanner Saunders, and our camera operator up top on the press box at the Dembski Sports Complex, Mike Goodberry. I am Joe Kraus. Thanks for making us part of your Sunday afternoon. There's already a lot of excitement on the lacrosse front as the Buffalo Bandits will compete in their championship later tonight against Saskatoon. But for right now, we have some pretty good contests on hand in Monsignor Martin action. After the opening face-off, this will be the St. Francis Red Raiders first-year head coach Fred White at the helm, a 6-10-1 record, taking on the Nichols Vikings coming in with a 12-2 mark, and head coach Brendan Burke in his fourth year. And we'll go through more of the storylines in just a moment. There is a 60-second shot clock here for the Red Raiders and the Vikings, and St. Francis coming into the contest off a pre-quarterfinal win a couple of days ago against Bishop Timon, a 12-5 victory back on May 11th, and their first possession ends up in a turnover. But the Nichols Vikings, they won the regular season championship, now looking to become the first team other than St. Joe's to clinch the regular season and postseason titles in the same season. The Marauders have won 8 straight in both the regular season, or I beg your pardon, in the postseason round. The Marauders have 8 in a row since 2016. St. Francis looking for its first postseason title since 2007, and the Nichols Vikings looking for their first ever in program history. Goaltenders in today's matchup, it is the sophomore for Nichols, Gus Smith, taking on the junior for St. Francis, Brody Sam. Couple of bounces. Ball is high and then picked up by Tucker Job, the senior. 29 goals, 46 points so far on the season. Approaching 90 seconds into the first period of play in the 2025 Monsignor Martin Tournament. St. Francis taking on Nichols. Here's Landon Welka. Welka, 61 goals, 81 points on the year. Then a low shot going just wide from Job. Going towards the far side of Smith in net. Gus Smith, and 11.5 goals against average on the season, saving about 44% of his shots coming into the tournament, while with recording 52 saves. First shot going just wide for the Red Raiders, wearing their road red jerseys, the Nichols, and their home white uniforms with the green numerals. Here is Robbie Callis, a quick swing, a little high for Tucker Job. So 2 turnovers and 1 wide shot to start here for St. Francis. About 2 minutes into the first period of play, as we take a look at the St. Francis goaltender, still awaiting his first shot of the day, a 6-9-1 record, 1 shutout, making his 17th start of the season, at 9.5 goals against average, saving about 54% of his shots on the season. But here come the Nichols Vikings, coming into the tournament averaging 8.6 goals per contest. Ryan Janice on the far side gets a quick pass over, looks like to Logan Vitez. Shot clock down to 40 seconds. John Duffett. Now Evan Brown. Brown on the near side, going past Patrick Coughlin. Now he swings it over. Vikings now behind the Red Raider net. Here's Ryan Janice. Another quick swing. Ryan Coppin. And the pass a little high for Duffett. The ball is near midfield. It is kept alive by Greg Kaza. And Nichols maintains possession. Now soaring in is John Duffett, and he scores! John Duffett with the first goal of our tournament, and Nichols takes the 1-0 lead. Number 15, John Duffett with his first goal of the day and his 24th of the year. As we take a look again, as Duffett going right past his defenseman, Waylon Runfola. And John Duffett strikes first. John Duffett striking first here for the Nichols Vikings, who reached the championship last year and lost in overtime to St. Joe's 8-7. So Duffett at the 9:03 mark of the first period helps the Vikings strike first. Face off, a lot of contact, and now our first whistle, resulting in possession going to St. Francis. Our officiating crew for this contest, Taylor Ebsery, Joseph Smith, and John Marcusson. St. Francis looking to respond, going right to left in this first period. This is Robbie Careless, one of the veterans for the Red Raiders. Careless will be spending a lot of time in his near future here in the Dembski Sports Complex as he committed to Canisius next year. Here's Robbie trying to get away from two defenders. A low pass looking for Welka. Welka racing for the ball just past the Nichols bench. And it's going to be a turnover. St. Francis could not secure possession on the far side of the field. 8:20 left in the first period. John Duffett scored a lone goal so far. Now soaring in. Chase Cameron taking it himself. And it is Nichols with the early 2-0 lead. Count the goal for number 12, Chase Cameron. His 13th of the season. And St. Francis has called a timeout. So 2 quick goals for the number 1 seed, the Nichols Vikings. John Duffett at the 9:03 mark. And then Chase Cameron at the 8:14 mark of period number 1. Timeout. St. Francis will step aside for a quick moment as well. You are watching the Monsignor Martin Boys Lacrosse Tournament on the Western New York Athletics.
Logistics Plus is a global transportation provider headquartered in Erie, PA, with locations worldwide, including right here in Western New York. Logistics Plus is consistently recognized as a fast-growing transportation and logistics company, great supply chain partner, top freight broker, leading project cargo manager, and a great place to work. With a strong passion for excellence, our 500-plus employees put the plus in logistics.
Or an efficient, personal approach for all of your transportation needs. More information about our Buffalo office is available at logisticsplus.com/Buffalo.
Early start for the Nichols Vikings coming into the tournament with a 12-2 record and the Monsignor Martin regular season title under its belt. As we take another look again, the second goal for the Vikings, Chase Cameron making his way towards the middle of the field and count it right underneath Brody Sam's left shoulder. And the Nichols Vikings off to a 2-0 start. A pair of goals from the junior class for head coach Brendan Burke. The Vikings have 12 juniors on their roster. A lot of multi-sport athletes, a few players that skated on the ice over the winter. And as a result, the Nichols Vikings off to a 2-0 lead. Back into the offensive zone for Nichols, and it's picked up by Lucas Fabianski of the Red Raiders. Then a stoppage, the ball goes back to Nichols. Four minutes going by in the first period. Good crowd on hand today at Canisius University. First of 3 straight days of Monsignor Martin teams competing in the postseason, and we'll go through the postseason schedule in just a little bit. Here come the Vikings, though, once again with Evan Brown. Quick swing, the cross in front, a little behind, looking for Duffett. And here come the Red Raiders. Tight defense from the junior, Patrick Coughlin of St. Francis, and the pass a little high off the stick of Memphis Breckman, and it is a turnover. Getting a chance to talk with St. Francis head coach Fred White earlier in the week. He said, when we play Nichols, we have to control the pace. We can't let Nichols make this a track meet and control the tempo. And so far, Nichols has the tempo in its back pocket. Once again, offensively, here is Duffett. Duffett spins to his left. Tight defense from Evan Greenbro, who causes the ball to be loose, and now another whistle, and now a little extra chatter after the play. The possession will go to St. Francis. Evan Greeno, after making the stop defensively, long stick midfielder makes his way into the offensive zone. Quick pass. Careless. St. Francis looking for a solid offensive possession, trailing by 2. On the drive, quick swing to Careless off the screen. Now the pass inside. Here is Waylon Runfolo, the senior. Josh Sikorsky. Shot clock down to 20 for St. Francis. Tight defense from Nichols. Careless with 15 to shoot. Robbie moves in. Looks to his right. Gets the pass over to Job. Job trying to get the pass back to Careless. The ball is still loose. Shot clock down to 3 seconds. The ball is not secure yet. It is high in the air. And before Job could scoop up and potentially step in to score, it is a shot clock violation. And the Nichols fan base fired up after the big defensive effort, as we are down to 5:45 to go in this first period. Nichols with the 2-0 lead. On the far side is Duffett. Quick swing over to Lasky. Lasky on the drive, shoots and scores. A bounce in front for Michael Lasky, and Nichols has a 3-0 lead. Once again, the quick passing, and as a result, number 14, Michael Lasky, gets the big-time goal for Nichols to put them up 3-0. Let's take a look again. Nice move, a nice deke in for Michael Lasky, and head coach Brendan Burke spoke highly of him when we got a chance to talk with Coach earlier this week. Just impressive play. Winning face-offs, stepping in, scoring goals, and just another example of why Mr. Lasky is off to play at Mercyhurst next year. So 5:35 left in the first period. Duffett, Cameron, and now Lasky getting the Nichols off to a quick 3-0 start. Here is Chase Cameron. Pass intercepted by the Red Raiders. Evan Greeno, the pass in transition to Cash Sam. Now on the far side, Careless. Stepping in. Red Raiders getting their offensive set going. Third meeting in the season between St. Francis and Nichols. Nichols won both affairs. 14-12 win on April 22nd on the road in Hamburg. And then back in Buffalo, the Vikings with the 10-7 victory on May 8th. The regular season finale for St. Francis before taking on Bishop Timon in the tournament. Nichols in transition, though. Pass a little behind Logan Vitez. And going out of play. And as a result of the whistle, we have our first penalty of the contest, a 1-minute slashing penalty to St. Francis's Tucker Job. So the penalty coming at the 4:26 mark of the first period. And Nichols now on the man advantage. Quinn Clare, now Duffett. Pass just out of the reach of Logan Vitez. Vitez, only a freshman, 8 goals and 12 points so far in his young career. Possession going to Nichols. Now we resume play. The shot clock down to 46. Nichols swinging the ball around. Quinclair spins right. Now here's John Duffett. Give and go on the far side. Quick swing, stepping up, firing off of the stick of Sam. The ball goes high in the air. It is picked up by his brother, Sam. Then the pass intercepted by Claire. The cross in front, just out of the reach of Nichols. Noah Chick on the action. Now the cross in front to Duffett. Pass a little high, checked down by Ryan Coppin. Back to Duffett, he shoots. The pass goes wide. Nichols, okay, a lot of bodies involved on this man advantage opportunity. Just 5 seconds left in the penalty to Tucker Job. Penalty has expired, and we are back to full strength. 3:20 to go in the first period. Nichols with a 3-0 lead over St. Francis in Game 1 of the Monsignor Martin Lacrosse Tournament. On the run, count the goal. It is good for St. Francis. Waylon Ronfola getting the goal, and the deficit is cut to 2. A big-time goal for number 26 for St. Francis to help end the scoring drought of nearly 9 minutes to start the Red Raiders tournament run. Ronfola, his 16th goal of the season. As we take a look again in transition on the run, which is what Fred White said we need to do today against Nichols. And the senior says, I got you, coach, and gets St. Francis on the board. 190th goal of the season for St. Francis as a unit. Came into the tournament averaging just over 11 goals per contest. And a big one for Wayland cuts the deficit down to 2. He missed some time due to injury last season, but back at full strength and getting St. Francis on the board. Red Raiders win the faceoff. The pass a little low for Careless. The ball is loose. A bump from behind. Big hit from Tucker Job. And possession will go in favor to Nichols. Contact again for the loose ball. Then picked up by Job. Job getting tangled up with Cameron. And now Job has possession. Those watching at home, once the team crosses the blue line, which is where Robbie Carroll is standing right now, once the team crosses into that blue line, the shot clock does start at 60 seconds. St. Francis now working behind the net. Some quick passes. Here's Job. Now Welka. Quick swing to Careless, the senior. Careless turns, fires a no-look shot from our vantage point. It goes high. For the Red Raiders, still with some time. 19 seconds on the shot clock to try again. Here's Rakowski. A quick swing. Shooting and scoring. What a goal for Josh Sikorsky off the nice pass from Brady Rakowski. Sikorsky wearing the old Jack Eichel number 15 in on the action. A nice spin inside. At 1:54 left in the first period. Let's take a look at this again. Off the nice feed from Rakowski. Josh Sikorsky, the junior, his 22nd of the season. And 2 unanswered goals for the Red Raiders after Nichols jumped out to a 3-0 start. Ball is loose. Scooped up by Ryan Coppin. Now Nichols looking to reset. Quick pass, knocked down, swing and a miss on the shot from Lassie. The ball is loose and checked down by St. Francis. Coughlin. Red Raiders get over midfield. Now it's Careless. Under 90 seconds left in the first period. This is Job. Job, one-on-one against Ryan Clancy. Pass goes behind. Rokoski. Quick swing going behind. Spin move. Rokoski. Under 30 seconds left on the shot clock for the Red Raiders, trailing by 1 goal. Under a minute left. On the drive, Careless shoots, gets the pass off. The cross in front, and it leads in to a big-time goal. Count it for Josh Sikorsky, his second in just a matter of seconds. Great ball movement from St. Francis. And another one for Josh Sikorsky. A nice cross in front. And we are tied at 3. Brady Rokoski with unofficially his second assist of the day as well, both on Sikorsky's goal. And with 53 seconds to go in the first period, we are tied at 3. As we mentioned, the first 2 times these 2 programs met in the season, a 14-12 win for Nichols on April 22nd, and then the second meeting by only a score of 10-7 on May 8th. Here comes Nichols trying to stop the bleeding and get a goal back. Ryan Janice getting pressure from behind. The ball is loose and back to the Vikings. Tight defense from Lucas Fabianski. The Vikings will try again. Towards the middle of the field we go with Chase Cameron. On the drive and count the goal. John Duffett with another one for the Vikings, who take the 4-3 lead. Nice spin move from Duffett at the top of the perimeter. A nice shot. And John Duffett moved to the midfield going into this season after being on the attack for the Vikings early on in his career. And this time he gets 2 goals. Last 5 seconds of the period. Ball takes a couple extra bounces. No one has it. Then scooping it up is Quinn Clare for Nichols. Well, the shot clock and game clock have both expired to end the first period of play. Nichols jumped out to a 3-0 start. St. Francis countered back with 3 in a row. And then John Duffett, his second of the day, with 11 seconds left in the first period. Nichols with a 4-3 lead over St. Francis. We'll be right back. This broadcast is brought to you by Damon University, and you are listening to Western New York Athletics.
Logistics Plus is a global transportation provider headquartered in Erie, PA, with locations worldwide, including right here in Western New York. Logistics Plus is consistently recognized as a fast-growing transportation and logistics company, great supply chain partner, top freight broker, leading project cargo manager, and a great place to work. With a strong passion for excellence, our 500-plus employees put the plus in logistics.
For an efficient, personal approach for all of your transportation needs, more information about our Buffalo office is available at logisticsplus.com/Buffalo.
Welcome back. Start of the second period between the Nichols Vikings and the St. Francis Red Raiders. We do have a penalty to start the second against Nichols. Ryan Janice getting a 2-minute non-releasable penalty for illegal stick usage. And now St. Francis looking to tie the contest up for a second time today. Quick shot and right on cue. It is Tucker Job on the man advantage. And we are tied at 4, just 12 seconds into the contest. And that is the 30th goal of the season for the senior, Tucker Job. Great look again for St. Francis. Able to get the ball moving. A quick release from Tucker. And we are tied at 4. As we said, the penalty is non-releasable for Ryan Janice, so St. Francis still has a minute 49 to work with. And after an illegal procedure against Nichols in the faceoff circle, here come the Red Raiders. Careless on the far side. Now Welka back to Careless. Red Raiders trying to get something going on the far side of the field. Now they'll work on the near side. Rakowski, a give and go with Sikorsky. Back up top, the cross in front. Quick turn, and it leads to a goal in front for Waylon Runfola. Second of the day for Waylon. And St. Francis takes the 5-4 lead. First lead of the day for the Red Raiders. Make it a 5-4 advantage. So you can take a look again on your screen just how the Red Raiders were looking to get things going. Get the ball movement up top and then finding Waylon, the big body in front, the senior, able to cash in on his second goal. Timeout has been called by the Nichols Vikings. The pendulum has swung in favor for St. Francis at the moment. 11:15 to go in the second period. We'll be right back for more coverage on Western New York Athletics. Early stages of the second period. St. Francis with a 5-4 lead over Nichols. Again, if you're just tuning in, thanks for making us part of your Sunday afternoon. Joe Kraus, our producer, is Tanner Saunders, and Mike Goodberry is up top, bringing you the action here at the Dembski Sports Complex. Nichols jumped out to a 3-0 lead. St. Francis responded with 3 in a row, starting with Waylon Runfola's first goal at the 3:12 mark of the first period. St. Francis on a roll to start the second period of play. Tucker Job just 12 seconds in, and then Runfola his second. But Nichols able to stop the bleeding, a bouncing shot and in for John Duffett, recording a hat trick at the 11:05 mark of the second period.
His third goal of the game for Nichols, number 15, John Duffett.
So another goal just 55 seconds into the second period of play as Duffett in the open space taking the shot, going right underneath the short side of Brody Sam. And we are tied at 5. Face-off is won by the Vikings. Here comes Ryan Coppin on the short side, getting tangled up. And it will be St. Francis possession. Looks like a collision on the short side between Coppin and Brody Sam. And here come the Red Raiders, sprinting their way over midfield. Fabianski swings over to Careless. Still 40 seconds left in the non-releasable penalty to Ryan Janice. Was a 2-minute penalty for illegal stick usage. Now here come the Red Raiders, tied up at 5 with a top seed Nichols Vikings. Shot, big save in net from Gus Smith, the sophomore. Able to deny in front. Looks like Brady Rakoski, a big save. As we look at the scoreboard here at Dempsey Sports Complex, both teams with 5 goals, and Nichols with 5 shots, and St. Francis with 6. We have another timeout on the field. We're going to step aside as well. 10:02 left in the second period. Tied at 5, and we'll be right back with more action of the Monsignor Martin Boys Lacrosse Tournament on Western New York Athletics. .02 left in the second period, tied at 5 between St. Francis and Nichols. Mentioned this is the first of 3 consecutive days that the Monsignor Martin will have postseason lacrosse action here on the campus of Canisius University. Tomorrow at noon, the Nichols girls lacrosse program will take on St. John the Baptist in the Catholic High School New York State Class A Championship with the St. John the Baptist Cougars at noon. You can watch that contest right here on Western New York Athletics. We're excited to bring that broadcast not only for our viewers here in Buffalo, but also those following along with the Cougars in downstate New York. And then Tuesday night we'll have the championship of the Monsignor Martin Boys Tournament. Again, the winner of this contest will take on either Canisius or St. Joe's, 6 p.m. Tuesday, right here on Western New York Athletics. The Crusaders and the Marauders will take action here today, a scheduled 5 p.m. start. However you're listening or watching on this Sunday afternoon, we are streaming live on our YouTube page as well as on Facebook and X, WNY Athletics. If you're enjoying our content so far, be sure to tell a friend and spread the word about Western New York Athletics, dedicated to covering high school sports in Western New York since 2016. It is a turnover as we are down to 9.5 minutes to go in this first half, still tied at 5. Nichols on the offensive attack again. Here's Lasky. Now Duffett, already with 3 goals today. Duffett waits. Now trying to make a move is Duffett against Breckman. Now he winds up and shoots and is high. Shot clock is down to 41 seconds for the Vikings. We have a penalty coming up to St. Francis.
St. Francis penalty to number 14, Patrick.
Unnecessary roughness to Patrick Coughlin, so a 1 minute man advantage coming up for the Vikings.
Correction, unnecessary roughness.
Shots on goal right now at 6 apiece, and our score is tied up at 5. Here come the Vikings. with Duffett. Now Vitez. Now Coppin. Noah Chick in on the action. 7 goals on the year for the junior. Now setting up a shot going wide. Left from Duffett. Shot going wide. Vikings will try again. We're down to 45 seconds left on the shot clock. 40 seconds left in the penalty to Coughlin. Nichols trying to capitalize on the man advantage. Vitez. Pass broken up by Eli Greeno. Greeno on the end line. He turns, trying to create some space. The ball is loose as Sam comes out of his net. Brody Sam trying to get back. The net is wide open, and it leads to the goal for Ryan Janice. After serving the penalty to start the second period of play, Janice saw the open net. He kept creeping up as we will have a couple of penalties in just a moment. But as you can see on your screen, Janice right in front. The door was wide open. The ball came towards Janice's way. He's able to score his 19th goal of the season with 8:14 to go in period number 2. And Nichols takes the lead. So the penalty is going against St. Francis. Cross-checking 1-minute penalty to Cash Sam.
10, Ryan Janice. St. Francis penalty to number 3, Cash Sam.
So as a result of the cross-checking penalty to Cash Sam, Nichols trying to wind up again. A big save for Brody Sam. St. Francis with 2 sets of brothers and a set of twins on the roster this season. Austin in front. It is knocked down by the Red Raiders. Still some pressure. Here comes Chick. Swings over to Janice. Setting up shooting for Duffett. Shot goes wide and out of play. St. Francis with the twins and Brody and Cass Sam, and then also the brothers Eli and Evan Greeno and Waylon and Brooks run full. It's the first time that head coach Fred White has had that type of scenario on his roster. But stepping in for the goal for Nichols, it is Quinn Clare. Lucky number 13, and Nichols takes the 2-goal lead. 7-5 is our score.
Nichols' 7th goal scored by
That's only the
number
4th goal of the season for Quinn Clare, as Quinn going right past the double team and stepping in and putting the Vikings on top by 2. St. Francis did have a 5-4 lead early in this second period. But now it is 3 unanswered for the Vikings. Pressure on the far side. Eli Greeno getting the pass over to midfield. Red Raiders can't scoop up the ground ball. On the near side, then picked up. Nice play by Clancy. A quick passing into the open space. Ryan Janice able to find Michael Lasky. Lasky turns the cross. The pass a little low and a bounce in front of Brody Sam to make the stop. What a nice heads-up play from Ryan Janice as Nichols was ready to go in transition. We're down to 6:25 left in the first half. Landon Welka looking for his first goal of the day. One of the catalysts on this Red Raiders offense all season. 61 goals, 81 points on the season, and he's off to Mercyhurst next year, trying to keep his high school career alive. Here is Careless. Careless looks and shoots. A bouncing shot to the right side of Gus Smith. St. Francis will try again. Here is Job. Now Careless shoots. It bounces in front. The Red Raiders will try again with Josh Sikorsky. And the timeout has been taken.
Timeout, St. Francis.
St. Francis with the timeout will step aside as well. Nichols in front by a score of 7-5. We'll be right back after this short break on Western New York Athletics.
Buffalo, a city built by hard workers, a city of good neighbors, a city with passion. There's no place we'd rather be than in this city helping our customers, the Paul Wolf Agency. We are Buffalo.
Education has power. Binghamton University students discover it, apply it, unleash it. Unleash your education today.
So St. Francis has called a timeout on the offensive attack, which they haven't been able to produce since the early stages of the second period. It was Tucker Job just 12 seconds in to the 12-minute period. And then Waylon Runfola at the 11:16 mark. That is the last time that St. Francis has scored a goal. Currently trailing 7-5. The pass is a little high for Brady Rakoski, and it leads to a turnover. Right now, St. Francis on a 6-minute and 20-second scoring drought. Here come the Vikings making their way. Duffett is tripped. We're going to have a penalty as Robbie Careless will be serving the penalty for St. Francis. One-minute penalty for tripping at the 5:17 mark of the second period.
Francis penalty, number 10, Robert Careless, 1 minute tripping.
So Nichols once again on the man advantage. Here's Lasky. Now Duffett. Now Coppin. Here's Chick. Pass is knocked down by Evan Greeno. And St. Francis moving in transition. Greeno. His pass deflected right in front of the St. Francis bench. Then a turnover against the Red Raiders. Here comes Nichols again. Under 5 minutes of play before the break. Stepping in. Here's Lasky. Lasky breaking away from the double team. He swings over to Clare. Now Coppin. Quick passing for the Vikings. A quick shot. A save for Brody Sam. Able to deny Noah Chick. The ball goes right past it. A second save in a matter of seconds for Brody. Able to deny the freshman Logan Vitez. Red Raiders on the move. St. Francis looking for its first goal since the 11:16 mark of this second period. Ronfola already with 2 on the day. And a low pass looking for Careless, and it leads to a turnover. Lasky getting the pass over. Here's Coppin stepping and shooting. And a nice stick save, a low shot, and a save for Brody Sam. St. Francis back on the move. Sikorsky slowing down the tempo for the Red Raiders. Job. Sikorsky getting the pass off to Welka. Welka getting heavily guarded by Wyatt McKellar. Welka makes a move to his right. Then he spins back. Quick pass for the Red Raiders. 30 seconds on the shot clock. Stepping in is Runfola. Bounce in front. Bounces over. And St. Francis will try again. Down to 20 seconds left in the shot clock for St. Francis. Whoa, shot going wide left from Job. Shot clock is down to 13. St. Francis will try again. 10 to shoot. This is Job stepping in, shooting and scoring. The scoring drought is over for St. Francis. Tucker Job cashing in for his second of the day. And we're back to a one-goal contest.
St. Francis 6 goals.
What a goal for Tucker Job
Tucker Job, his second of the day.
at the 2:35 mark of period number 2. Nearly a 9-minute scoring drought for St. Francis, and they're able to cut this into one. Face off. Greeno briefly has it for St. Francis. Couple collisions, another stoppage. Here come the Red Raiders. Sikorsky against McKellar. Sikorsky moving past McKellar. Ball is loose. A trip from behind, and a penalty is coming up against Nichols. Why McKellar a little too much on that contact as Sikorsky was moving by. And now St. Francis has the man advantage with 2:12 to play before the break. Action-packed first hand here at the Dembski Sports Complex. So a 30-second penalty to McKellar. An action-packed first half here at Canisius University, home of the Golden Griffins. Here's Welka. Now careless. Extra pass for Job. Back to Welka. He looks to his right. Rokoski getting tangled up. The ball is loose. Tight contact from Quinn Clare. Now we have a whistle, a stoppage. Session in favor of St. Francis, and the shot clock resets to 60 seconds. Under 2 minutes to play in Buffalo. Quick turn, Job. Shot is low. Gus Smith with the save. A lot of collision in front on the far side. Body's getting tangled up, and now things are getting a little bit more chippy on the far side. A lot of bodies colliding in front of Gus Smith, and a penalty is on the field. A tripping against Nichols, William Bowling, number 22. So the man advantage goes to St. Francis. So we're down to 1:37 to go before the break. Here's Job. His shot going wide. Red Raiders will try again. Sikorsky. Now Job Crossing. Now stepping in and firing and scoring is Robbie Carolus. An opportunity we'll see in the years to come as a Canisius Golden Griff. This time he helps the St. Francis Red Raiders tie up our contest at 7. First of the day here for Robbie, his 37th of the season. And Corrales gets our contest tied up at 7. Great passing from the Red Raiders. And Corrales able to punch it in for his first goal of the tournament. Nichols wins the faceoff with Ryan Coppin, faceoff specialist for the Vikings. The ball is loose and picked up by the Red Raiders. On the run is Coughlin. Over midfield he goes. Coughlin in the mismatch against Coppin. Now Coughlin swings it over to Evan Greeno. Now Welka on the far side. Last minute of play before the break. Tied at 7. Here's Welka. Spins to his left. Now Job stepping in. The shot goes wide. Red Raiders will try again. Sikorsky against McKellar. Now here's Job. The cross in front, and right underneath the legs of Gus Smith goes Brady Rakowski. Rakowski had the 2 assists in the first period on both goals for Josh Sikorsky. And Josh sets up his teammate Brady Rakowski with 39.4 ticks left in the first half. St. Francis is able to retake the lead as a result. We take a look. Actually, Tucker Job on the assist, but Rakowski able to get the ball moving as well. 8-7. St. Francis in front. Pass a little behind. Ball taking a couple extra bounces. Bodies collide with Fabianski getting tailed up with Janice. Possession to the Vikings. Last 25 seconds of play. Cross turning. Coppin denied by Brody Sam. A big save from the junior. Pass near midfield. Lasky in on the action for the Vikings. Ball is still not secure. Down to the last 3 seconds of play. And after a lot of contact, our first half has concluded with St. Francis taking an early 5-4 start in this second period. The goal at the 2:35 mark from a Tucker Job, able to get the Red Raiders going late, taking an 8-7 lead at the half. Our contest is sponsored by the Monsignor Moore Athletic Association and the members of the association, along with Logistics Plus of Buffalo. It is halftime at Canisius University. We'll be right back on Western New York Athletics.
Logistics Plus is a global transportation provider headquartered in Erie, PA, with locations worldwide, including right here in Western New York. Logistics Plus is consistently recognized as a fast-growing transportation and logistics company, great supply chain partner, top freight broker, leading project cargo manager, and a great place to work. With a strong passion for excellence, our 500-plus employees put the plus in logistics.
For an efficient, personal approach for all of your transportation needs, more information about our Buffalo office is available at logisticsplus.com/Buffalo.
Buffalo, a city built by hard workers, a city of good neighbors, a city with passion. There's no place we'd rather be than in this city helping our customers. The Paul Wolf Agency. We are Buffalo.
Were you injured in a car accident? Or were you injured on the job? Don't wait. Call your patient coordinator, Tom Prince, at 716-771-9690. One of the hardest things to do is to find a physician that accepts no-fault car insurance or workers' compensation insurance. Let your patient coordinator help you find the physicians that can get you on the road to recovery.
Level Media is a locally owned and operated, multi-purpose media company right here in Western New York. You'll find us everywhere, covering the Bills, Sabres, Buttes, Bisons, Big Four basketball, local college sports, and much more. Our staff offers a variety of media services, from video production, live event coverage, audio broadcasts, professional voiceovers, camera operation, and videography. Visit www.300levelmedia.com or give us a call at 716-427-2600. This is 300 Level Media.
Seek your next adventure. Make your next memory. Explore your next connection. What will you do next?
If a picture's worth 1,000 words, and you only get one chance to make a first impression, then your professional image is pretty important to your career success. Hi, I'm BJ Stack, owner of Stack Studios, proudly introducing Headshots by Stacks. Did you know that according to LinkedIn, profiles with professional headshots get 21 times more views and 36 times more direct messages? That's a lot of attention. And with a Headshot by Stacks, you can be sure that your image will be the talk of the corporate town. Every Headshot by Stacks goes through a 3-step editing process. We whiten teeth, we erase blemishes, we soften shadows, we even change out backgrounds, just to name a few. So your headshot makes a first impression that lasts. And with our headshot packages starting at just $99, it's never been more affordable for you to look your best. So, if a picture's worth 1,000 words, what are people saying about you?
And welcome back to the Dempsey Sports Complex at Canisius University in Buffalo. Joe Kraus with you on the call, along with our producer Tanner Saunders and Mike Goodberry, our cameraman today. It is the Monsieur Martin Tournament for Boys Lacrosse in 2025. Semifinal number 1 at the half. St. Francis, the number 4 seed, with an 8-7 lead over Nichols. As we take a look at the halftime stats, our shots on goal, it is in favor of Nichols, 11-10. But St. Francis able to get things going late in the second period. It was an 8-minute and 41-second scoring drought, the official time, for when Wayland Runfola scored his second of the day to when Tucker Jobe cashed in goal number 2. Jobe at the 2:35 mark of the second period. Jobe now with 2, Runfola with 2, Josh Sikorsky with 2, and Brady Rakoski and Robbie Corrales also with 1 goal apiece. And for the Nichols Vikings leading the scoring, it is the junior midfielder John Duffett with a hat trick. Ryan Janice, Chase Cameron, and Quinn Clare also with 1 goal apiece. Once again, our halftime score, it is the St. Francis Red Raiders looking for their first Monsignor Maria postseason tournament title since 2007. They're on top over Nichols, 8-7. We'll be right back after our next break. Big thanks again to the Monsignor Maria Athletic Association, the schools, and Logistics Plus for sponsoring our broadcast today. We'll be right back on Western New York Athletics.
Plus is a global transportation provider headquartered in Erie, PA with locations worldwide, including right here in Western New York. Logistics Plus is consistently recognized as a fast-growing transportation and logistics company, great supply chain partner, top freight broker, leading project cargo manager, and a great place to work. With a strong passion for excellence, our 500-plus employees put the plus in logistics.
For an efficient, personal approach for all of your transportation needs, more information about our Buffalo office is available at logisticsplus.com/Buffalo.
Seek your next adventure. Make your next memory. Explore your next connection. What will you do next?
If a picture's worth 1,000 words, and you only get one chance to make a first impression, then your professional image is pretty important to your career success. Hi, I'm BJ Stack, owner of Stack Studios, proudly introducing Headshots by Stacks. Did you know that according to LinkedIn, profiles with professional headshots get 21 times more views and 36 times more direct messages? That's a lot of attention. And with a Headshot by Stacks, you can be sure that your image will be the talk of the corporate town. Every Headshot by Stacks goes through a 3-step editing process. We whiten teeth, we erase blemishes, we soften shadows, we even change out backgrounds, just to name a few. So your headshot makes a first impression that lasts. And with our headshot packages starting at just $99, it's never been more affordable for you to look your best. So, if a picture's worth 1,000 words, what are people saying about you?
.300 Level Media is a locally owned and operated, multi-purpose media company right here in Western New York. You'll find us everywhere, covering the Bills, Sabres, Buttes, Bisons, Big Four basketball, local college sports, and much more. Our staff offers a variety of media services, from video production, live event coverage, audio broadcasts, professional voiceovers, camera operation, and videography. Visit www.300levelmedia.com or give us a call at 716-427-2600. This is 300 Level Media.
Buffalo, a city built by hard workers, a city of good neighbors, a city with passion. There's no place we'd rather be than in this city helping our customers. The Paul Wolf Agency. We are Buffalo.
Were you injured in a car accident? Or were you injured on the job? Don't wait. Call your patient coordinator, Tom Prince, at 716-771-9690. One of the hardest things to do is to find a physician that accepts no-fault car insurance or workers' compensation insurance. Let your patient coordinator help you find the physicians that can get you on the road to recovery.
Look, Patriot account is not going to close itself. Looks like you're going to be here late again. I need this by morning.
Oh no, not again. My son has a football game tonight.
WNYathletics.com. You can thank me later.
WNY Athletics, your home for high school sports.
Yes.
And welcome back to the Dempsey Sports Complex at Canisius University. St. Francis Red Raiders with an 8-7 lead over the number 1 seed, the Nichols Vikings. Joe Kraus with you. Thanks for making us part of your Sunday afternoon. Nichols Vikings trying to get back into the championship round for the 7th time in program history, dating back to 2010. The Nichols Vikings were once upon a time part of the Section 6 competition in the late 1970s through the 1990s, they won a grand total of 9 Section 6 titles between 1976 and 1990. The Vikings are, of course, now part of the Monsignor Martin Athletic Association, as more fireworks are on display. As we have a penalty on the field, just 8 seconds out of halftime.
Nichols penalty to number 14, Michael Lasky.
So Michael Lasky is going to be serving the penalty for Nichols, a 1-minute slashing penalty. It is a man advantage opportunity for the Red Raiders out of the break. Here is Welka. Now Rakowski back to Welka. Welka shoots. High shot going wide on the right side of the net with Gus Smith in action for the Vikings. Red Raiders will try again. Corrales, now Welka. Welka steps in, shoots. Low bouncing shot on the near side of Smith. St. Francis will try again. 45 seconds on the shot clock. Corrales. Now Welka shoots, big save for Smith. But the Red Raiders will try again, looking to reload. Quick passing. Pass a little behind for Joe, but scooped up by Welka. Welka turns on the run, and another save for Gus Smith. 3 tries, 3 denials from Gus Smith in net for Nichols against St. Francis. Vikings now in their defensive end. High pass looking for Greg Kaza. And a turnover results in another opportunity for St. Francis. Back to full strength for both teams. Sikorsky. Now Rakowski. Rakowski gets a little bump there from Clancy. He recovers. Now stepping in is Sikorsky. The cross in front. Another save for Smith. Smith able to deny that time. Josh Sikorsky. And now the Vikings are on the loose. Here comes Nichols over midfield. 4 big saves for Gus Smith out of halftime for the Vikings. Can the Vikings get a goal? Instead, they'll get a turnover. Gus Smith has received high praise from Brendan Burke so far this season. Cool, calm, and collected. He stays in the pocket with his emotions, not too high, not too low, and has been the backbone of the defense. Only a sophomore for the 12-2 Vikings, currently trailing by a goal in postseason play. Ball goes back to Smith. Eli Greeno try to get a shot off. Now here come the Vikings. This is Claire. A quick swing to Ryan Janice. Behind the net we go. And possession will stay alive with the Nichols Vikings. Ryan Janice already with 1 goal today. Shot clock has been reset to 60. Janice guarded by Eli Greeno. On the spin move, Janice, the cross in front, firing and scoring. Count it for Noah Chick. Noah Chick right in front. Great vision from Ryan Janice, and we are tied at 8.
Nichols' 8th goal, scored by number 21, Noah Chick.
Big time play from the junior. Just his 8th goal of the season. And the Vikings bring us back to a tie contest. Nice spin move. Great vision. Janice able to find Chick for the goal in front. Third tie of the contest between the Red Raiders and the Vikings. We were tied up at 3 late in the first period. Another cross and a high shot. Won't go for Chick that time, as it was Cameron trying to set him up again. Two juniors teaming up on the opportunity. Shot clock down to 50. Nichols will try again. Here's Vitez. Getting tangled up. Ball is loose. It is picked up by St. Francis for a moment with Coughlin. And now we have another stoppage. 8:47 to go in the third period. It appears we have another penalty on the field. So Lucas Fabianski, a 1 minute cross-checking for St. Francis. So Nichols now has the man advantage. Once again, our score and shots on goal totals are even between the Vikings and the Red Raiders. As it appears we have an injured player on the field from Nichols. Logan Vitez able to walk on his own, under his own power for the Vikings. But our score is tied at 8, and the Vikings and Red Raiders have 12 shots on goal apiece. This is Cameron. Now Duffett. His pass stolen. Red Raiders on the loose after the big play from Evan Greeno. Now on the offensive attack is Robbie Carlis. Carlis stepping back, getting defended by Kaza. Now here's Sikorsky. Up top. Rodfola shoots and scores, making a hat trick for Wayland. And St. Francis takes the lead 9-8.
St. Francis, ninth goal, his third of the game.
What a big goal.
Rodfola.
Great patience from the Red Raiders to set this opportunity up in front. Rodfola in the open space, takes a couple stutter steps and shoots towards his right, able to draw Gus Smith away from the open net. And with 8:10 left in the third period, St. Francis once again has the lead. They had a 5-4 lead to start the second period. Nichols led at the end of one by a score of 4-3. And the lead goes back in favor of the Red Raiders, now at 9-8. It is scooped up by Lasky. Quick swing to Coppin, who takes a shot and scores from deep. Ryan Coppin off the quick faceoff from Michael Lasky, and we are tied at 9. 8:03 to go in the third period. As you can see, the quick transition. Lasky, quick turn, and bam, a nice goal coming from Ryan Coppin. His 20th of the year. And we are tied once again, this time at 9. Lasky, one of the Vikings' team strengths all season. St. Francis trying to respond, but a nice save by Gus Smith against Brady Rakoski. Here is Kaza. Greg Kaza, the junior defenseman, one of the top defenders for the Vikings all season. He spins off of Sikorsky, making his way to midfield, gets the pass off to Lasky. Lasky gets collided with Evan Greeno. The ball is picked up again by the Vikings. 7.5 minutes left in the third period of play. Tied at 9, with the winner advancing to Tuesday night's championship in the Monsignor Martin tournament. Here's Duffett, already with 3 today. A little bump from Fabianski, the ball loose, tracked down by St. Francis. Here's Corrales, one-on-one, stepping in, shooting another big save by Gus Smith through the collision. That's at least 5 saves out of the break for Gus Smith. Just taking over with some authority here with under 7 minutes left in the third period. And then a turnover in transition gives the ball right back to the Red Raiders. Corrales, the cross. Big bump from behind and from Bowling. Here's Sikorsky. After the bump, he spins to his right. Sikorsky, the cross, stepping in, shooting. Another dead-on save for Gus Smith. That time denying Eli Greeno on the action. Nichols in transition, going left to right on your dial in this second half. Here come the Vikings. The cross, shooting, and it goes in. Ryan Janice off the quick pass from Michael Lasky. And the Nichols Vikings take the lead. 10-9 our score. Nichols in front of St. Francis as Ryan Janice earns his second goal of the day. You could take a look again. Another big play from Michael Lasky in transition, as we still have 6:29 to go in the third period. A scrum right on the Golden Griff logo for the faceoff. It is picked up by the Vikings. And now a stoppage from the officials. Now the Vikings will start at midfield. Claire has the open space. Turns to his left. Now Duffett. John Duffett, 2 goals in the first period, 1 more in the second. Here's Evan Brown, the junior, getting some action. 9 goals, 18 points on the season. Brown turns, high pass, and ball bounces into the St. Francis bench. Pass was going for Ryan Coppin. And then Coppin gets tangled up with a Red Raider as the Vikings were making a couple substitutions. Back and forth affair. Nichols with a 10-9 lead over St. Francis. Under 6 minutes to play in the third period. Runfola. Now Welka. Back to Runfola. Runfola guarded, defended by Ryan Clancy. Runfola turns. Now stepping in. A little pump fake from Corrales. Now he shoots. It bounces. The goal is good for Robbie. Robbie Corrales, his second of the day. And we are tied at 10. Robbie Corrales, his second goal of this contest.
Second goal, or 10th goal of the game, his second game.
Make it 38 on the year.
Robert Corrales.
For the senior. Great tempo from both teams. Face-off won by the Red Raiders. Rokoski with the action. Here's Coughlin. Swings to his left to Corrales. Corrales. Now Runfola. Runfola tries to get it back. Ball is still loose. A lot of bodies in front of Smith. Now stepping in is Welka, and he scores! What a time for Landon Welka to get his first goal of the contest. And St. Francis takes the 11-10 lead. There is a penalty marker on the field. But as it stands for right now, Landon Welka is going to get his 62nd goal of the season.
Correction, the goal has been waved off.
Now the goal has been waved off as a result of the penalty. regardless, it was a nice move from Welka going and finding the one-on-one space, but there was a 1-minute slashing period. Penalty, I beg your pardon. 1 minute for slashing going against Patrick Coughlin. So we are still tied up at 10. Red Raiders with possession. Here's Job. Now Corrales. Back to Job. Now Welka. 45 left on the shot clock. The pass after a couple bumps waiting for Sikorsky, but it's scooped up by Clancy of the Vikings. Clancy turns, making his way upfield. Getting the pass over to Ryan Coppin. Coppin shoots, and a big save for Brody Sam. Brody hasn't seen a lot of action compared to his counterpart in Gus Smith, but a big save for Sam as bodies hit the deck again, as we have a penalty coming up and some more extracurricular activities on the far side of the field, right in the middle where the officiating table is between the two benches of Nichols and St. Francis. Well, let's see how this is sorted out with 4:09 left in the third period of play. While we have him in, we'd like to congratulate St. Mary's taking a 1-0 lead in the series in the Monsignor Martin softball series earlier this afternoon. St. Mary's with the 12-2 victory against Nichols. Our man from West New York Athletics, Tom Prince, was in on the action. A post-game interview with members of the St. Mary's of Lancaster Lancers is up right now on Western New York Athletics.
2 minutes, cross-check to the head, unreleasable.
So Ryan Clancy gets the penalty for Nichols. 2-minute penalty for cross-checking to the head. It is not releasable, as releasing the shot and going high is Robbie Corrales. So Clancy, 2-minute penalty, cross-checking to the head for the Vikings. And we are still knotted up at 10. Under 4 minutes left in period number 3. Stepping up is Wilka. Big denial from Gus Smith. Gus Smith recording his 8th save of the contest. St. Francis in its own zone. Runfola already with 3 goals today. Waylon Runfola turns. Now Corrales across in front. Little bump on the shot from Job. All goes behind. Possession staying with the Red Raiders. Runfola, the senior. Now Corrales. Quick passing, a low shot, couple bounces to the left of Smith from Corrales. St. Francis will try again. 3:13 to go in the third period. Runfola. Corrales. Quick turn. Now stepping in, shooting a high pass, and then a shot for Corrales. The Red Raiders will try again. 48 seconds left in the non-releasable penalty to Ryan Clancy of Nichols. Cross-checking to the head. Welcome, the cross in front. It is good to go for Tucker Job, and St. Francis takes the 1-goal lead.
St. Francis,
Third of the night for Tucker Job.
His third of the game.
2:51 to go in the third period. Take a look once again as Welka leading Job in. That is also the second time today that Tucker Job has scored a goal with under 3 minutes left in a period. His latest at the 2:51 mark of the third gives St. Francis the 11-10 lead over Nichols. Face-off is won by the Red Raiders. A big bump. The ball is still loose. It is 3 Vikings against 1 Red Raider. Ball takes a couple bounces, and now a whistle. Before it was Lasky off to the races. So it is Red Raider possession. Runfola. Now Welka. Now Rakowski back to Welka. Still looking for his first goal of the day. He had an opportunity, but it was waved off due to a penalty. And the Red Raiders can't respond. Now looks like Quinn Clare was trying to get a few extra steps before starting the sequence. The referee told him to go back to his original spot, and now we resume play. 2:20 to go in the third period. Monsignor Martin, Boys Lacrosse Tournament, semifinal number 1. Timeout has been called by the Nichols Vikings. They are trailing the St. Francis Red Raiders by a score of 11-10. We'll be right back after this short break. You are watching Western New York Athletics.
Logistics Plus is a global transportation provider headquartered in Erie, PA with locations worldwide, including right here in Western New York. Logistics Plus is consistently recognized as a fast-growing transportation and logistics company, great supply chain partner, top freight broker, leading project cargo manager, and a great place to work. With a strong passion for excellence, our 500-plus employees put the plus in logistics.
For an efficient, personal approach for all of your transportation needs, more information about our Buffalo office is available at logisticsplus.com/Buffalo.
2:14 left in the third period. Nichols has called a timeout. They are trailing St. Francis by a score 11-10. Joe Kraus and the crew with you today on Western New York Athletics. Currently streaming on our YouTube page as well as on Facebook and on X. Thank you again for tuning in and having a lot of fun so far here at the Dembski Sports Complex. Canisius University, home of the Golden Griffins, and the Nichols Vikings only with 2 losses on the season coming into the tournament. They lost their season opener back on April 4th, 21-7 against Kiski, and then on the road in Canada, an 18-13 defeat on April 25th. The Vikings in contests 2 goals or less are 5-0 this season. St. Francis, in comparison, is 0-3-1. There was a 6-6 draw back on May 1st against St. Joe's. And speaking of the Marauders, they are making their way to the Dembski Sports Complex, watching this contest. The Marauders will take on their longtime rival, the Canisius Crusaders, at the conclusion of this contest. Another penalty is coming up, another 30-second penalty on the field. This will go against Memphis Breckman. A 30-second pushing penalty against Breckman. We'll have to double check at the break of how many penalties each team has had so far today, as there's another save for Brody Sam. Sam now with 6 saves in the contest, and Gus Smith for Nichols with 8. Goaltenders certainly doing their part here in a back-and-forth affair. Here come the Vikings trying to tie this up again. It is Coppin with under 90 seconds to go in the third period. Another penalty coming up. 2 penalty flags are in the air as the Vikings trying to scoop up the ball. Here is Chase Cameron getting away from Evan Greeno. Lasky, pass intercepted by Job. as we have another penalty on the field with 1:05 left in period number 3. It is an offside penalty against Evan Greeno, the sophomore for St. Francis. Evan, of course, the brother of Eli Greeno, the senior for St. Francis. A timeout has been called. We'll step aside as well. A man advantage opportunity coming up on the other side of the break, right here on Western New York Athletics. So Evan Greeno is about to serve a 30-second penalty for being offside. That is now the 13th penalty. The 13th penalty we have had between St. Francis and Nichols, and we're only at the 1:05 remaining mark of the third period. St. Francis with 7 penalties, Nichols with 6. So out of the timeout, Nichols and St. Francis now with 1 timeout left here in this second half. Shots on goal. St. Francis with 19, Nichols with 16. The department that matters, though, is the score. St. Francis in front of Nichols, 11-10. Here come the Vikings. John Duffett, scoreless so far in the second half of action. After racking up 3 goals through the first period and the early stages of period number 2. He has the ball. He swings to Brown. Now here's Cameron. Back to Duffett. Now Brown again. Vikings on the far side of the field. Here's Brown. A give and go. The pass is deflected. It is scooped up by Patrick Coughlin of the Red Raiders. Coughlin turns. 40 seconds left in the period. A long pass, couple bounces, knocked down by the shoulder of Bowling. But here comes St. Francis again. Robbie Corrales winding down the clock, 30 seconds to go in the frame. Now here's Welka. Welka taking past 2 defenders, shoots a save for Gus Smith. It is loose in front, picked up by Sikorsky. Another penalty is coming up as William Bowling is shaken up after the play. Bowling getting some assistance from Greg Kaza as a penalty once again to St. Francis. Now their 8th of the contest.
Penalty on red, number 11, Landon Welka.
So Landon Welka
Unnecessary roughness.
is being called for the unnecessary roughness here. Last 15 seconds of period number 3. Here's Duffett. Duffett, now Janice. Janice backtracks. We're down to 5 seconds left. Now Duffett, down to 2 seconds. A long shot from Janice, who fires, takes a bounce in the turf. And I don't think this third period is over just yet. We might have time for one more play. Did the ball go out of bounds? We did not see an official call. Both teams are going to their benches. A shot from Janice. Did it go? Did the ball go out of bounds before the clock expired? We're still waiting for the discussion. It is currently St. Francis in front of Nichols by a score of 11-10. Still waiting on if the third period has concluded. We apologize for the long pause for those tuning in at home on West New York Athletics. It did appear that it expired. So we're going to start the fourth period. Just an interesting scenario at the end. We did not get a clear call from the referees down on the field if the third period had expired. But here we go. It's the start of the fourth. St. Francis on top of Nichols by a score of 11-10. The winner advances to the Monsignor Martin Championship contest against either Canisius or St. Joe's Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Patrick Coughlin against the host, the Vikings. The ball is loose in transition. On the run, not able to get the shot off as Lasky. Some tight defense from Eli Greeno. And here come the Red Raiders again. Shots on goal, St. Francis with 20, Nichols with 16. There are 19 seconds left in the penalty to Landon Wolka of the Red Raiders. Here come the Vikings. Right to left on your dial in this fourth period. Vikings trying to get back to the championship contest for a second straight year. Spinning away is Claire. Claire shoots and is knocked down by Fabianski. The ball is still loose in front. Leaping forward is Brody Sam. Sam has possession for the Red Raiders. Some nice stick work from Lucas Fabianski a moment before the save. Now possession after another whistle. This will go in favor of St. Francis, and Welka is out of the penalty zone. Red Raiders trying to get reset. .11:08 to play. Big thank you once again to the Monsignor Martin Athletic Association and its member schools, as well as Logistics Plus of Buffalo, for sponsoring this broadcast and the rest of the Monsignor Martin tournament. Robbie Corrales awaiting the pass. It is short from the stick of Runfola. The ball is still loose in front. It is scooped up by the Vikings. Great heads-up play from Quinn Clare, the junior, long stick midi. Now here's Gus Smith, the sophomore, a high pass and out of bounds, looking for Clare on the near sideline. Good crowd on hand for this Sunday afternoon. Nichols Vikings taking on the St. Francis Red Raiders. St. Francis faithful making the road trip from Athol Springs. Nichols a shorter drive from Buffalo. Here is Waylon Runfola. Runfola scored his third of the day early in the third period at around the 8-minute mark. Winding up, the shot going wide for Corrales. Since the end of the first period, which Nichols had the 4-3 lead, since that point, St. Francis has outscored Nichols 8-6. Ball is loose in midfield. Runfola getting the pass off before he got decked at midfield. Some more pushing and shoving. Colliding with Evan Brown. Waiting for the official call after the collision. Both teams will now be serving penalties at the 9:48 mark of regulation time. It is Ryan Clancy, the only man going into the box. He is going in for Nichols, a 1 minute non-releasable penalty. So after all the skirmers, St. Francis now on the man advantage. Red Raiders trying to tack on another goal. Here's Welka. Does he get his first of the tournament? Does Sikorsky add on a third? Corrales already with two. He gets the pass to Welka. Welka tangled up from behind with Bowling. The ball is still loose. It is picked up by Welka, who spins away. Red Raiders will reset. 30 seconds left on the shot clock. 1 goal game. Bodies collide again, and now we have a penalty as St. Francis and Nichols each have a player shaken up after the collision. Landon Welka able to walk away under his own power. Getting a little assistance from one of his teammates. Appears to be okay, though. Now slowly trying to get up is Lasky. Two of the top players that Western New York and the Monsignor Martin has certainly been blessed to watch the past few years. Lasky is up. And there was a penalty before the stoppage. And it is an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty against Lasky. This is a 1 minute non-releasable against Lasky. So for 37 seconds, Nichols will be down 2 men. Clancy still has 23 seconds in his penalty. And then the 1 minute non-releasable to Lasky. 9:11 left in the fourth period. Brody Sam already with 6 saves in this contest for St. Francis. There's a high shot from his teammate Tucker Job. Gus Smith having another fine performance to his sophomore campaign. This is Welka. Quick turn. One follow. Back to Welka. He shoots it. A nice save once again from Gus Smith. Under 9 minutes to play. Vikings on the move. Kaza pressured from behind by Brady Rakoski, but a timeout called by the Nichols Vikings. Last timeout of the half with 8:33 to go. We're going to step aside for another break. Don't go away. You are watching the Monsignor Martin Boys Lacrosse Tournament on Western New York Athletics. Nichols called its last timeout. Down by 1 with 8:33 to play. Getting a chance to talk with Brendan Burke earlier this week, now in his 4th year with the Vikings. And as we mentioned, the Vikings are trying to get back to the Monsignor Martin final. They lost to St. Joe's last year in overtime, 8-7. The Vikings had a 2-goal lead with 5 minutes left. And Burke said we didn't close it out. And all season he has emphasized to his players, we need to make championship plays all year long so we have the muscle memory going into the tournament. This is Duffett. Vikings on the offensive attack. 10 seconds left in the penalty to Lasky. Ryan Janice. Janice turning. Tries to get the shot off. Looked like it bounced away from Brody Sam. And the Vikings will try again. Brody Sam, a junior for the Red Raiders. He recorded a season high 26 saves. The last time that St. Francis and Nichols met, a 10-7 victory for the Vikings back on May 8th. Duffett, a bouncing shot right into the pocket of Sam. Under 8 minutes to play. Red Raiders, and the pass over midfield. Here is Landon Welka, the senior, stepping in on the run, and a nice save from his knees. Gus Smith once again. Quickly in transition, a little bump just past midfield. Coppin getting tangled up now with Coughlin. A bump from behind. Sikorsky in the action, as well as McKellar. Now some more pushing and shoving. Greg Kaza heated up as well, trying to support his Nickel Viking teammates. So St. Francis, as a result, is taking the penalty. Patrick Coughlin, a 1 minute unnecessary roughness penalty. If we're doing the math correctly, that's their 10th penalty. .7:29 to go in the 4th period. Red Raiders still up by 1. Duffett now stepping in for the shot is Brown, but denied by Sam. St. Francis still with the 1-goal lead, but have not scored since Robbie Corrales got goal number 2 at the 5:25 mark of the 3rd. Nichols trying to respond as well. The last goal coming from Ryan Coppin at the 8:03 mark of period number 3. Ronfola. Penalty is coming up. 30 seconds left on the shot clock. Just over 6 minutes left to play in regulation time. Corrales. Corrales off the screen, moves right. Robbie steps in and shoots. A shot going wide. We have 6:05 left to go in the 4th period. Another penalty on the field. It is William Bowling serving the penalty for Nichols. 1 minute for slashing.
22, William Bowling. 1 minute. 1 minute for slashing.
Landon Welka. Here's the whistle, and here we go for the Red Raiders. Stepping in, Rakoski shoots. Another save for Smith. Gus Smith now with 12 saves in this contest for the Vikings, who still trail by 1. Ball is still loose. It glides off the stick, then scoops in for Eli Greeno. Red Raiders in transition. Welka taking this himself. Now gets the pass. A couple bounces in front of Corrales. The ball is loose. Picked up by Nichols. Vikings sprinting over midfield with Lasky. Now Janice steps in, shoots, and scores. Ryan Janice with the big goal for the Vikings. And we are tied up at 11. Once again, the transition king, Michael Lasky, finding his man, Ryan Janice, on the goal. It is the third of the day for Ryan Janice, his 21st of the season. As we take a look at this one more time. Great transition, and then bam, a nice shot for Ryan Janice. Brody Sam, once again, a valiant effort for the Red Raiders. Just couldn't make the stop that time. And we are tied at 11 with 5:18 to go in regulation. In the face-off circle we go. The ball is loose. Couple of bounces to Coughlin. Here come the Red Raiders. Corrales. The cross in front, a little high for Welka. It is trying to scoop it away is Coppin. Battle on the far side. Who last touched it? It'll be Nichols' possession. Now some action in front of the Red Raider bench. It was tied at 7 coming out of the half. Pass a little behind. Looking for Job. Who has it? It is Sikorsky. Gets away from the screen set by Job. Now Rakoski stepping in, shooting right into the stick of Smith. Make it 13 saves on the day for Smith, but the ball goes back to Red Raiders. A bounce, a collision in front. The penalty is coming up as the Red Raiders have a player down. Split second snap of the finger scenario as Gus Smith had it, made the pass, a collision in front. Now the Red Raiders have a man down with 4:16 to play. Tanner, let's step aside for a quick break. We'll be right back after this.
Look, Patriot account is not going to close itself. Looks like you're going to be here late again. I need this by morning.
Oh no, not again. My son has a football game tonight.
WNYathletics.com. You can link me later.
WNY Athletics, your home for high school sports.
Yes.
Were you injured in a car accident? Or were you injured on the job? Don't wait. Call your patient coordinator, Tom Prince, at 716-771-9690. One of the hardest things to do is to find a physician that accepts no-fault car insurance or workers' compensation insurance. Let your patient coordinator help you find the physicians that can get you on the road to recovery.
Welcome back to the Dembski Sports Complex at Canisius University as we have an injured player down at the moment for St. Francis. We cannot get a clear vantage point of who was injured on the play. The player for St. Francis has gotten off the ground. He is now being supported. He's still sitting on the ground, but getting support from the St. Francis coaching staff and some trainers as well here today. Currently tied at 11 with 4:16 left to go. And it is Landon Wolka, number 11, getting up and walking towards the St. Francis bench with some assistance. Wolka is walking towards the St. Francis bench with his helmet in his right hand. Penalty has been called on Nichols. Stepping in, low shot, it is good. On the man advantage, Josh Sikorsky gives St. Francis the lead with 4:02 to go.
Nichols penalty to number 9, Greg Cascott.
Josh Sikorsky stepping in after watching his longtime teammate go down with an injury. Taking a look again at Sikorsky, one-on-one against Gus Smith. Tucker Job credit with the assist. As Greg Kaza of Nichols was called on the penalty that sent Landon Wolka to the sideline. So with 4:06 left, number 15, Josh Sikorsky with the goal for St. Francis, who has the 1-goal lead once again. Under 4 minutes to play. Red Raiders looking to punch their ticket to Tuesday night's championship game. Here's Brady Rakowski. Now Job. Give and go. Job gets it back from Sikorsky. Short passes. In the action, Donovan Swans can't secure the pass, and here come the Vikings. On the far side. Ball is still loose. Swans trying to get away. The ball is now in the zone for Nichols to attack. Duffett turns back the crossover to Janice, and a big save from Brody Sam. St. Francis back in transition. Sikorsky. The cross over. One-on-one. The bounce, it is in for Waylon Ronfola. His 4th of the day with 3:04 to go. Waylon Ronfola, that might be the insurance goal, but still some time left, folks. Just over 3 minutes to go. 4th of the day for Waylon. Back-to-back goals for the Red Raiders. Nice cross in at front. And then Waylon taking it himself. So it was Josh Sikorsky with the go-ahead goal at the 4:16 mark of this 4th period. Waylon Ronfola responds and tacks on another with 3:04 to play. In the face-off circle, it is won by the Red Raiders. Red Raiders with Job. .240 left to play. Ronfola. Corrales. Winding down the clock, 30 seconds on the shot clock, 2.5 to play in Buffalo. Red Raiders faithful just said a moment ago, let's get one more, boys. Can they do it? Stepping up on the drive, shooting on Fluma. It goes just wide. Gus Smith thought that it went into his own net, but the shot went low towards his right. Red Raiders will try again. 2:09 and ticking. Nichols trying to get a stop and a quick goal. They won the Monsignor Martin regular season title last week. Trying to get to the tournament game, but trailing by 2. As there is the turnover that the Vikings needed. 1:51 to play. Vikings are out of timeouts. They used their last timeout in this half at the 8:33 mark. Spinning away is Bowling. Bowling getting the pass to Smith. Smith sprinting past Sikorsky. Getting the pass off. It is knocked down by the Red Raiders. Coughlin setting up the cross a little high for Job. Here come the Vikings in the open space with Claire quickly over midfield. 1:20 to play. And offside is called on Nichols. Appears that Chase Cameron was offside, and possession goes back to St. Francis. We're down to 1:15 to play. Red Raiders trying to put the icing on the cake and going back to the Monsignor Martin Tournament Championship. Coming with a mission of clinching their first since 2007. And first-year head coach Fred White has taken a timeout with 1:04 to play. We'll keep this here, Tanner, as Fred White previously with St. Mary's of Lancaster. Spent 4 years with the program, then was hired by the Red Raiders in late December. He accepted the job because of the academic and athletic components being a good fit. A lot of experience for Fred White as he began his coaching career as an assistant at Hilbert College from 2011 through 2017. 2 years down in Florida. Then, as we mentioned, the 5 years with 4 years, beg your pardon, with St. Mary's of Lancaster. Now trying to help lead the Red Raiders, looking for their first Monsignor Martin postseason tournament since 2007. If this final score stands, they'll have an opportunity to do so Tuesday night back here at the Dembski Sports Complex at Canisius University. Tuesday night at 6 p.m. And you can watch that contest right here on Western New York Athletics. Well, if you haven't had a lot of excitement so far from this contest, we'll be back for more. In roughly 30 minutes from now, it'll be Canisius and St. Joe's in the second semifinal. But what a contest we have had so far this afternoon. Big thanks again to our producer, Tanner Saunders, our cameraman, Mike Goodberry, as well as to the Monsignor Martin Athletic Association and its member schools, and Logistics Plus of Buffalo for being our sponsors for this contest. Joe Kraus with you on the call. St. Francis trying to hold on. The speed of Robbie Corrales going around the net as we are down to our final minute of play. Corrales getting the pass over. Stepping in. Shot going in. The goal was good, but we have penalties. As a result, the goal is going to stand. Looks like Donovan Swans had the last shot. It is now a 3-goal lead for St. Francis. Looks like number 23, Donovan Swans, had that goal. St. Francis.
St. Francis 14th goal. 26, Waylon Runfola. Nichols penalty to number 13, Quinlan Clare.
14-11 our score.
Roughness, 1 minute.
With 45 seconds left and another penalty for Nichols to Quinn Clare, 1 minute for roughing. Smith hurdling a man, now making his way towards midfield. The goaltender with the long pass. Tracked down by Brown. Evan Brown, last 30 seconds of play. Now Coppin shoots, bounces in front. Long transition pass. Bounces out of the reach of Job with 17 seconds left. Check that, 18 to go. As Coppin will shake it up, now appears to be okay. So it'll be a reset at midfield for the Red Raiders. Three goals for Josh Sikorsky. Waylon Runfola with 4. A lot of scoring and another big effort for Brody Sam in net. Able to record 10 saves in the victory. Tracking this down, and that is going to do it. The St. Francis Red Raiders and first-year head coach Fred White punching their ticket to the Monsignor Martin Championship, taking down the number 1 seed Nichols Vikings by a score of 14-11. What a finish for the Red Raiders. Nichols had the hot start, a valiant effort for their sophomore goaltender as well, Gus Smith. Able to record 14 saves in the loss, but it was the star power and the shooting ability of players for St. Francis like Waylon Runfola, Robbie Corrales, Tucker Job, and Josh Sikorsky to help the Red Raiders secure the 14-11 victory, and now they will await to see who they will take on in the championship on Tuesday. Once again, our final score, St. Francis 14, Nichols 11. Coming up in just a little bit, it'll be Canisius taking on St. Joe's. But for right now, for Tanner Saunders and Mike Goodberry, this is Joe Kraus. We thank you all for tuning in to the Monsignor Martin Boys